Hello again, everyone. Um, I want to start out saying I'm terribly sorry that I haven't been uploading any more videos. Life has caught up with me again, and I've not had the time to produce anything. Um, Thursday, which was my day off, I actually didn't have any time to film any new material, so even if I were to produce the the remainder of what I do have, I don't have anything new. Um, I don't like that fact. I wish that weren't the case, but it is, and I don't really have any way of remedying it. And unfortunately, this last Thursday was my last day off for the next couple of weeks. Um, my employer is going to be out of town starting this Thursday, and as a result, I will be in charge of the observatory during that period of time that he is gone, which means that I can't take the normal time off that I would normally take off, and he's going to be gone for about a week and a half. So it will be the entirety of the next 2 days that I would have off that I have to continue to work. I don't mind continuing to work, it just means that I won't have time to produce anything new. And unfortunately, that means that the content on this channel is probably going to stagnate. Um, I don't want that to happen. I wanted very much for that to not happen ever. But these past couple of days have kind of made me. They have required me to take a new look at the way I handle this material. And the fact is, I don't get paid to do this. I'm not part of YouTube's, partnership program or any of that garbage. I'm doing this purely because I can. I was doing it purely for fun, and it stopped being fun a while ago. Um, I have a job, I have responsibilities for which I do get paid outside of this, and that obviously 100% takes precedence. And I'm sorry, but there's not a whole lot that I can come up with that can change that fact. Um, I do want to continue to produce videos for this channel, and I do want to continue to produce general material for this channel. Um, but it's going to be a little while. And right now, not only has life been catching up with me, but my health has been catching up with me as well. Um, I have an appointment with the psychiatrist on Monday, and I have an appointment with a general practitioner on the 30th. Um, Obviously not during work hours because I can't afford to do that. But both of these appointments have been a long time coming, and my physical health right now is in a state I have almost no strength left right now. Physically, I actually had trouble walking tonight at work, and not that's never happened before. So I'm not terribly enthusiastic about what's probably going to happen over the next couple of months. Um, in addition, my left leg, which I know I've mentioned before, uh, has seizing fits and often goes into an excruciating amount of pain. Um, Tonight it started doing that about 5 o'clock, and it hasn't stopped, and it's 12:40 in the morning right now. So it's actually it's taking a lot to just sit here. Actually, it hurts to sit. It hurts to stand. It hurts to do pretty much anything right now. And in addition to that, my left arm has started to act up in a very similar manner, um, which is further indicative of the problem I'm pretty sure I have, but obviously is not encouraging. Um, I'm sure you can hear the cat. He's crying because I'm talking to you guys as is usual. So, I don't know when the next video will be up. The next video will almost certainly be another Metroid Prime video. I know I've had requests for more Star Fox Adventures, and I do intend to get back to that eventually. And I've had requests actually for the entire Star Fox series, and actually it was my intention to do that at some point, for as much as I can do. I don't own Star Fox 64 for the N64. I own Star Fox 64 3D for the 3DS, but I don't own it for the N64. So I actually can't do that one yet. But aside from that, I do own the original Star Fox. I own, obviously, Star Fox Adventures. I own Star Fox Assault. I don't believe there was a Star Fox game released for the Wii. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been a Star Fox game released for the Wii U yet. And I don't have a means... Excuse me. I don't have a means to record video from my 3DS or a DS at all, any handheld system except for the Game Boy, which the Super Game Boy that would allow that to happen is not presently in my possession. So it will happen eventually. I do intend to do more games, more consoles, etc. eventually when I can, and that's going to be the deciding factor, the limiting factor is when I can. And I will have to find the time. And until then, I apologize for the dearth of videos that will occur, because there will be a dearth of videos. I may end up doing a thing where I just upload a video once a week, or I may have a big upload burst, like, a couple times a week or something like that. But as it stands right now, I just don't have the time. And again, I can do nothing but apologize for that. In more positive news, I did finally get my Famicom in the mail today. Unfortunately, I did not realize that it did not come with an AC adapter, and that was my fault. I didn't read the listing. It was clearly mentioned in the listing that it didn't come with an AC adapter. And another thing that was entirely my fault, because I assumed, and you know what happens when you assume, I assumed that the NES AC adapter would work on the Famicom. And for those of you who do know the problem there, you are aware that the NES, the AC conversion actually happens within the NES console itself, whereas the Famicom, the AC conversion happens in the wall wart. Sorry. I hit my leg a little hard. That is to say, I hit my leg at all, so it started really being unhappy. Anyway, long story short, the AC input on the Famicom burned out a power relay, which means I have to repair the power relay, and probably a capacitor. I've ordered these parts. They will be here sometime in the next week, and if I can find the time, um, I will repair the Famicom and test it and make sure that everything works. It should work once I repair it. In addition to this, a pleasant surprise that happened today. Um, I am the proud owner of a new Atari 2600 system. I already had an Atari 2600 system, obviously, because I produced the ET video from that. But that was an Atari 2600 Junior, and its broadcast chip had very much worked its way out of the proper frequency. So while my tuner card was picking up the output, it was fuzzy, it was grainy, it was obviously noisy because it was not on the proper frequency. Um, this new 2600 is set to the proper frequency. I've tested it out. It works beautifully. I'm actually really happy with it. It runs Moonsweeper. Ah! Son of... Ah! Ah! I did it again. Sorry. Moonsweeper, which is a game I've had for a while that didn't work very well at all on the 2600 Junior, works perfectly on the 52 or on the 2600, the new one. So it works. The problem is the capture card software doesn't quite display the proper frame rate to be able to see the sprites as they should appear. So it's not quite playable, but it actually does play. So if I can, I'm going to try and split the signal from the 2600 between the tuner card and the television so that I can set it up to record on the tuner card, which will record the full video because it will be interlaced and it will show every frame properly. But then I'll be able to play it on the TV and display all the sprites correctly and be able to actually play it. In addition to this, the Atari 2600 that I just got today, which is the all-black console, which is a harder to find version. It's a four switch, which is one of the newer but of course, if it's all black, it is one of the newer consoles, relative to the overall history of the system. There were older systems that had 6 switches that are almost impossible to find, and unfortunately this isn't one of those, but it is a black console, which is the next most difficult to find console, to my knowledge. So it's additionally rare, and in addition to this, it came with a large library of games, like 40 plus new games that many of which I've never played before, including one called Wall Ball that is, according to Atari Age, which they are a online community of Atari enthusiasts. If you haven't heard of them, I strongly suggest you check them out. It's a very amazing community. They actually do homebrew games for the Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, etc. That are actually playable on the original consoles. So they do a lot of really cool work. And if you haven't heard of them, check them out. It's AtariAge.com. But they also have a listing of every Atari cartridge ever made that has been found, and a rarity rating from 1 to 10. 1 being just absurdly common. You can walk into a Goodwill and expect to find this game, and a 10 being what they call impossibly rare, which is literally impossible to find. There are maybe, there are a limited number, a known limited number of this cartridge in the world. Most of the time, a 10 is like a prototype that was produced by Atari that never actually went on the market. Um, but Wall Ball, according to Atari Age, is a rating of 7, which is incredibly hard to find. Um, they there are copies of this game on eBay for $30, which doesn't seem like a whole lot until you realize that this is a 30-year-old game that is marketed at $30+ So it's like that's really cool considering I got the whole system, console, games, everything for $45. And that came with there are 5 different joystick controllers in this setup. There are several paddle controllers. It came with a touchpad for the Space Raiders game, I think is what uses the touchpad. But it came with that touchpad. It came with many third-party accessories. It came with the fucking Telegames game console system. It's the Telegames Center, which, if you're not familiar, Telegames was what Sears marketed the Atari 2600 as. Sears had an exclusive contract with Atari that they could produce Sears branded video game consoles, and it was the Sears Telegames console. It was just a rebranded 2600. That's all it was. But there were several games produced under the Telegames brand. There was obviously the Telegames Center produced under the Telegames brand. It was not an Atari part. It was a Sears part. They're not very hard to find, really, but they are. They're kind of hard to find. I mean, you could find them on eBay for about $30. And they store, controllers, accessories, cables, and like 30 games. And it was over full with games, and then there was an additional box of games and accessories. So I'm really happy with that. And it will allow me to produce more content on this channel when I find the time. So there is that. I think that's all I wanted to say. I've already rambled for 17 minutes now. I wanted to give the basic talking points. I wanted to apologize for the lack of content over the past couple days. Apologize for the fact that I will not have time to produce any new material over the next 2 weeks. If I do produce any new material, it's going to be from Metroid Prime. The recorded material from the past couple of from the last time I did play, and that my health is deteriorating and my time is deteriorating, so I don't know when I will next be able to produce new material, and that I got the Famicom, I got this new Atari 2600 that should make the gameplay a lot better looking. And whatever the outcome of the doctor's appointments will be, I will probably produce a vlog for that. And I don't know that I ever mentioned it on this channel yet. Back in October, I was working with another guy here at the observatory. There was one other person working here, plus my boss. And at the end of October, that person was admitted to the hospital in El Paso because he could no longer move his left side. And they removed a tumor from his brain the size of a lemon. And it was a malignant tumor. And obviously cancer having been in his body for that long, it had spread to his lymph nodes. He could not recover movement in the left side of his body. He had it back for maybe 6 hours in one day, and it just went away then forever. And he finally passed away last week, which is another reason that I've not produced anything new. Is I what little free time I have had, I've really not been in the mood to do much of anything because of this news. And his funeral is on Tuesday, so I will also be attending his funeral, which is another unfortunate time sink. I don't want to think of it as that, but in the context of this channel, it is another time sink. That means I won't be able to produce any new material, so I'm sorry about that, but it's important, I can't just say no to that, and I'm he was a friend, and his family's going to be there, and I knew a few members of his family very well, and so I'm not. It's not that I feel obligated to do this. It's that I feel it's the right thing to do. So that is going to push production on this channel back even further. And I know I'm talking quietly, and I'm sorry about that. I've tried to turn up the gain on the mic more than it had been before. The problem is if I turn the gain up too much, it clips out on the preamp, and then it just sounds bad in the end, even though it's not actually clipping out on the recording material, the recording software. It's clipping out on the preamp, which means that it ends up sounding terrible. So I've tried to fix that as best I can. I hope that it will be acceptable. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling here. I haven't actually eaten since when I started this video. I had finally gotten a chance to sit down after work. I mean, literally, I worked overtime tonight because we actually opened while we needed to work on this client's telescope, and so we had a window of about an hour wherein I was working on this client's telescope, and that window extended past my normal quitting time. So I've got some overtime this week now, but yeah, it's when I started this video, it was basically I got home, fed the cat, sat down, and started making this video. So I haven't even eaten yet, and I'm starved. And like I said before, I have almost no strength right now, and it's not because I haven't eaten, it's because I have no strength right now. My muscles are starting to fail me, and so that's something I need to bring up with the doctor. But anyway, until next time, whenever next time may be, keep smiling. Life is a joke, and death is the final punchline, so always keep smiling. I'll see you next time. Bye.